episode of House of Decline. On the podcast today, we have four-time returning champion guest Rory Blank. How you doing, Rory?
Hello. Getting over a cold right now. Just went to Dallas for a few days. It's still Dallas.
There you go. It still exists in the mists and the sands of time. Wonderful.
Every time
Dallas.
I go there, I can't not think about the fact that in Stephen King's 11/22/63, yeah, that's the day of the Kennedy assassination.
Sure.
It's implied in that book that Dallas, Texas is a just a site of primal evil, inextricable from the place itself, much the same way that Derry is.
Okay, yeah.
That there's something fundamentally wrong with Dallas.
There's something wrong here. It's at the tip of the triangle, so you know it's no good. It's at the forefront of the goddamn scary Texas triangle. I don't like spooky triangles. Not in life, not Bermuda Triangle. Terrified of that. As a kid, it consumed my every waking thought.
The way that Ramirez draws Joe Biden's head, that's a triangle.
Exactly. We were talking earlier about the political cartoonist Michael Ramirez because the topic of today's show is cartooning for evil, which might be, evil is a strong word to use, and it's not always good to talk in sort of biblical terms of good and evil, and, but, sometimes you can pass a line that I think, everyone could be like, okay, that's evil. We can all agree it's a little evil. I'm not saying evil like a preacher. I'm talking, it's evil. That's what I'm saying. I'm using that tone of voice to not make it seem as if I am puritanical, but I am, because I am still condemning it. Either way, this was also inspired by the most recent, completely mind-boggling piece of Hasbara that Israel produced that was in fact a cartoon, which is how my mind got going on this whole thing lately. So, Rory, have you seen the cum retrieval video?
Yes. There's I just, every time I think about it, I just, the first thing that comes to mind is just the way that they say she only had a limited amount of time she only had 2 hours to get his sperm. That's something that anybody fucking understands. Everybody knows, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
someone
2
just
hours.
died, gotta get that shit out.
Ticking clock, it's a real sense of human urgency. That's what was amazing about it, was how normal it was presented, to the point where the art style used within the cartoon was corporate Memphis art style.
Yeah.
What is corporate Memphis art style, Rory?
It's the shit that all of the motivational posters at my last job that I signed an NDA saying that I can't say his Facebook had on the walls. It's every smooth ad for every startup where everybody has the little tiny heads, and the big tube bodies. Yeah. It looks kind of like pastel Adventure Time through a funhouse mirror where just the torsos are too big.
Yeah, the characters have the same proportions as the Heinz Edelman's designs in Yellow Submarine, but they're all flat and smooth, and smooth is the operative word. Also, you're right, as identifying Adventure Time as an unfortunate influence on this on this sort of style. And one that I think it gets to the heart of why you see cartoons used for propaganda.
Memphis itself is good. If you aren't familiar, look up 80s Memphis furniture design. I'm saying more to people at home than to you because I assume that you know about Memphis. Is that squiggly stuff from the 80s, or what you think of when you think of the Saved by the Bell opening with all the triangles and shit. That's Memphis.
Yeah.
Which looked cool.
Yeah. That wasn't corporate Memphis. This is sellout Memphis. This is the Memphis that's not cool and used for cum retrieval animations promoting Israel.
Which is apparently shit that they do in Warhammer.
They do cum retrieval in Warhammer?
I just saw a post. I've never played Warhammer. I don't know, but like, I saw somebody say that in Warhammer they will like store it in like the canon, not of the universe, not in the game. Mm-hmm. I don't think that there's like a cum retrieval mechanic.
You don't roll the
Warhammer,
dice,
the game.
and you use your little ruler to measure how far you have to go to get the cum retrieval on the little. And they probably have like a little miniature cum for the Warhammer. It's fun.
You've got a full medical apparatus recreation of a scrotum with fake testes in it. You have to spend an hour and a half before the game very slowly using a syringe to insert fake seminal fluid into that, so that if you just roll the right number, your troops die, and you have to get a needle and just suck that shit out very slowly.
See, everyone's been imagining their, what the cum retrieval machine looks like. If it's some sort of like pump or needle, or I'm imagining the silver ball from Phantasm, and it just sort of goes in and plugs in there and sort of sucks out all the juices. But I guess we haven't even described what the cum retrieval video is. So there was this piece of Israeli propaganda that was posted on Twitter. That's how I saw it. And it was this animated video about a woman who's in the conflict, and she survived initially, but then her husband died, and then she needed to retrieve his sperm. And this was like you said, something that was very casual. Like, oh yeah, this is something that everybody does. When your husband dies in battle, you go out to the battlefield to retrieve his sperm.
The first thing that anybody thinks when when the worst possible thing happens to their loved one with somebody that they've built a life together with, gotta get that cum.
Gotta get that cum, because it's like you didn't. I feel like if you knew this was gonna happen, or there was a chance you would get the cum frozen beforehand. That's usually what you do. But I guess they were living with the under the auspices that they didn't have to freeze their cum anytime soon. But apparently this is a pretty frequent thing. Apparently there are actually cum retrieval, which I've never heard of before. Does America retrieve the cum of its soldiers? I guess because frequently they're on like international, they're on foreign missions. They're not on domestic missions, so cum retrieval would be a lot harder. Or like, would there be a medic tasked with retrieving the cum from the soldiers? Is there like a box you can check in the U.S. Army for the cum retrieval thing?
I don't know. I looked up how it's done, or like I tried to look up how it's done, and I still haven't figured it out. I think there's like a probe involved. Sure. Like, yeah, I think you have to like put a probe into their anus and like electronically stimulate their
prostate.
Their prostate, yeah.
So that it reverberates and then it starts splashing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I read that it you can do it not for 2 hours, up to 24 hours after death, which also means that like for the last couple of hours, I've just been obsessively thinking about a season of 24 where Jack Bauer has a ticking clock.
Yeah.
As he travels across the world to try to retrieve the president's cum.
Yeah. Well, I'm just imagining, like, from inside the balls, like, the sperms who are, like, dealing with the 24 hours, they're all going crazy. Like, the sperm society in the guy's balls is going nuts, and we have, like, a series of vignettes or snapshot into these sperms' lives before, are we getting out of here? A million stories can be told in this guy's balls. But, yeah, I Yeah, one of those Jordan Peterson milking machines. They don't put the corpse on a slab and have like the little the little nodules come down from the ceiling. The little nozzles come down from the ceiling. But at some point, it does seem like you're jerking off a corpse. No matter what, you are jerking off a corpse, which is like, I don't know if other countries do this. I suspect they don't. Because
you tell your child,
yeah.
a soldier extracted you from your daddy's balls after he got shot in the head?
Yeah.
At what age do you tell your child who was born of sperm retrieval, hey, a soldier jacked off your dad's corpse?
Yeah. That's how you were born. That's like something Christopher Walken would tell you in Israeli Pulp Fiction. And I jacked off your dad's corpse, and that's how I got the vial of sperm where you're from. Yeah. So yeah, it's just the bizarreness. It's just Jesus Christ. I feel like they even produced it as a distraction to make me distracted from the terrible things they're actually doing. Just on, I think that there is like a twinfold purpose to the bizarreness of the recent Hasbro, which is one, to test the faith of their base, which is like, how much will these dummies put up with? You know, to the point where it just seems like, oh, they'll just anything, you know? And it's also to drive people like us insane, because it's like, this is an animation. They spend days on this probably. Somebody got paid for. There was a whole line of people who read a script about the cum retrieval animations. Like, this is supposed to normalize us and make us look like the not weird necro-biopolitic fascist country. You know, this is supposed to be an enthralling human story done in the corporate Memphis style, with all of these people with small heads and thick limbs to make them look squishy and friendly. You know they're squishy and friendly if they have big, thick limbs, right? You know that battlefield sperm retrieval is normal if they have big, thick limbs, right?
Yeah, it definitely like got me away from thinking about hospitals being mercilessly bombed for a few hours to just focus exclusively on how do they get the cum out?
Yeah, how did they? So was that the plan? I feel like it must be, because nobody could like clearly think that, oh yeah, the cum retrieval unit. That's like an inspiring human story, right? Everyone recognizes that the cum retrieval unit is normal. I mean, that also just underscores, I feel like the cum retrieval unit is like a thing the Nazis would come up with, because it's like, we need to make more Nazi soldiers, so in this they will have purpose. You know, I'm Jewish, so I can say all this. I'm Jewish, so I can adequately. I'm dragging you all this, Gentile Rory. You're in my world now. But I feel as I was talking with Jeremy on a previous episode, Jeremy Appel on a previous episode, I do feel like it is almost there is a duty as a Jewish person to directly compare the state of Israel currently to Nazis, because we are seeing a lot of that same, like, as identified by Umberto Eco in fascism, like that culture of death. You know, the reason why they're willing to kill as many hostages as they are is because, they got caught. They were weak, right? You know, and that's the mentality that a surprising amount of people in that country have, more than you would think. So I think that also that culture of extreme necropolitics and extreme, like, everyone is, you know, willing to die for this movement, sort of extends into that strange sperm, because you're willing to die for the movement, but it's also about creating as many, you know, of the ethnically pure as possible, which is why you need the sperm as well. So it's the twinfold of everyone's willing to die, but everyone must fuck as much as possible, or, you know, we must gain the best sperm as much as possible in order to create and proliferate the desired ethnicity. And which is, you know, this is like, and it's ridiculous, but it's part and parcel with fascist ideology. I don't know else how to. That's why it feels like crazy when people try and like say, "Oh, you can't say that." No, it's the thing. They're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I've seen a lot of, which I think is like particularly illustrative, is like just the way that I see people who support this talk about the Palestinians, like, where I've seen numerous people say, you know, nobody wants these people. Why you know why? There's a reason why, like, Lebanon and Egypt won't take them.
Yeah.
It's exactly it is exactly mirroring the way that Nazis would talk about Jewish people by just saying like, oh, well, they've been cast out of everywhere for a reason.
Yeah, people don't take them because they know if they leave the country, you're going to move in there, you idiots. It's an expression of solidarity, you jerks. But yeah, I think anyone who's been listening to this podcast consistently knows my opinion on Palestine. And but I want to call attention to the fact that it is a cartoon, the fact that it is cutesy, because that's the really sinister aspect of it as well. You know, beyond the fact that it's the content is deeply sinister of it, the execution of it is also sinister as well, because it's trying to put this universal face on this really fascistic, inherently fascistic and ridiculous sperm collection story. And in that, I think lies the dark undercurrent of cartoon. Have you ever thought about the dark undercurrent of cartoons, Rory?
All the time.
Yeah.
Just a real quick aside also, though. I think the thing that I've been most struck by of creative works that have come out of the region trying to justify this is that, like, Israeli SNL sketch.
Yeah.
That just essentially boiled down to saying, hey, look at those stupid homos.
Yeah.
It was pretty derogatory towards, like, gay people in service of trying to say, like, oh, Israel's a good, safe place. No one's gonna be mean to you here, but you fucking queers, you get what you deserve for siding with the terrorists.
Yeah, it feels like it's a sequence from a Paul Verhoeven movie or something like that. Something that would be too on the nose in its critique of fascism, so nobody would get it. But but even like the humor of a fascist society is centered around hatred of outgroups constantly.
Yeah, there's in that video just like this genuine contempt for people engaged in like movements towards social justice. But I mean, to go back to Umberto Eco, like there's also that whole thing in fascism about like the depiction of your adversary as simultaneously being like a weak class and also like a sinister evil simultaneously, where like you have to constantly believe or like reinforce that you're better than these people, but also they're gonna fucking destroy everything if you give them even an inch.
Yeah. Because you need to see them as simultaneously beneath you and an existential threat as well. So you can just, because if they're just beneath you, then you can ignore them. But if they're beneath you and they're also, some sort of competing group, that gives you the cause to destroy them. And also with the SNL thing too, and like the endless amount of awful Hasbara TikToks that you've been seeing. It is that cutesiness combined with the direness and the desperate evil of what they're actually saying that strikes a sort of uniquely negative tone. It makes me wonder, like, were the Nazis this cutesy? Did they have like a little child? Did the Nazis have like a child's mascot or like a version of corporate Memphis cartoon? What were the Nazi cartoons?
I mean, their whole thing was essentially just like doing cottagecore shit.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, like they're at which like we were before like cutesy cartoons of the current era. So like the best you could do is just like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to live on a farm?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice to you wear a nice big sweater and you get to pet your doggos?
Yeah. Well, I think that's, famously Hitler was a big Disney fan, right?
Yeah.
And I think that idea, I was going to post something flippant and stupid today, which I didn't, which is like, my line in my head was, criticism of Israel isn't anti-Semitic, but choosing Disney over Looney Tunes, that's anti-Semitic. That reveals a depth of anti-Semitism if you like Disney or the Fleischers. If you think Disney's better than the Fleischers, go fuck yourself. You're anti-Semitic, okay? That's pure anti-Semitism. You're wrong. You're desperately wrong.
As a Gentile, I feel like I can't. I can't say that, but I will say that I know which side I'm on.
Which side are you on? Which side are you? But yeah, Disney.
I like Tex Avery because I live in Texas, and he's got the word Tex in his name.
Yeah, and he got it. he understood the Jewish experience, Tex Avery. Only I say Looney Tunes are Jewish. Only Freiling and Mel Blanc were Jewish guys. The rest of them were all Gentiles. But I don't know. They feel somehow more Jewish to me.
You don't think that Tex Avery gets a pass because he was just hanging out with those guys all the time?
Yeah, he was just a regular guy who was cool with Jewish people, and so Jewish people at the time were like, "You're in, buddy. Also, you're Tex Avery, so we want you in as well."
God, you know how he lost his eye?
How did he lose his eye?
Horsing around in the studio with one of the other assistants, maybe it's like a young guy or something.
That's tough.
How can you not like that?
Just stabbed it with a pencil or something?
I think he just smashed it into a copying machine or something.
Great fella. Well, probably. I wonder, does Tex Avery have any skeletons? I've never explored his biography that thoroughly. I'm not here to cancel Tex Avery, though.
Oh, God, no. A paperclip flew into his eye.
Oh, no. That's horrifying.
He was horsing around in the studio with one of the other guys, and a fucking paperclip stabbed him in the eye.
Yeah. Well, lucky you don't need a ton of depth perception for 2D animation. I'm sure it didn't help, but still, tough. Tough to have an old paperclip in the eye. But
sorry for...
Did Disney? Do you think Disney ever did cartoons for evil? What was the most evil propagandistic Disney cartoon you can remember? Like, I know all their war propaganda, and the war propaganda of the time was always against the Germans, but it always has like racist depictions of Japanese people as well, as you were showing me earlier in a book that you have.
If I remember correctly, like before things got really bad, he had like some Nazi affiliated people tour his studio.
Sure.
He definitely was not unsympathetic.
Yeah, well, a lot of people were at the time. Henry Ford, Charles Lindbergh. A lot of the heavy hitters of the American mythology were, for some reason, invested in the idea that we can return. We can return.
It's almost as if there's something about that ideology that is beneficial to and maybe facilitates the kind of society that people who run businesses would like. Hey. Maybe that could have, led to them trying to recruit a guy to overthrow Roosevelt in the 30s.
Look. There's a reason why I only spell it as America. That's the only way. That's the only way I spell it.
You know about that? You know about Smedley Butler and the Bonus Army?
Snubbly Butler and the Bonus Army? No, that sounds like some sort of Paul McCartney song. What is this?
Smedley Butler was a guy who was like a big, I think, general in the army. Mm-hmm. And then after quitting that and writing a pamphlet called War is a Racket, started agitating to get, or with a bunch of veterans of World War I to get them benefits. It was a guy who had a big gang of veterans who weren't getting their benefits that he was leading around. And according to him, at some point in the 30s, several heads of major U.S. corporations approached him to suggest, hey, have you ever thought about, maybe you overthrow the U.S. government and become a dictator, kind of like Hitler?
Sure, yeah.
You ever think about doing that?
Sure, yeah.
And he went to Congress and just told them, hey, the head of Ford and GM want me to overthrow the government.
Seems troubling. Disney wasn't one of them, though. Disney wasn't rooting for Snubbly Butler.
One of the, I think Prescott Bush was involved.
Yay! So. Yay! All of the greats, all of the heavy hitters.
Yeah, it's almost like capitalism prefers an authoritarian government.
Yeah. Well, talk about early cartooning for evil. I could talk about Hergé a little. We could talk about Hergé's early affiliation with Catholic fascism. And I've never read it. I should read Tintin in the Land of the Soviets because it's an explicitly anti-communist Tintin. And, of course, Tintin au Congo, which is the very racist colonial, super Belgian Tintin, which I think contain hits of the fascist attitude. But, I mean, Hergé got better. He didn't retain these attitudes throughout his entire life, to the point where his later books could even... his last book is about supporting basically the communist overthrow of a Latin American country. I don't know if you can read Alcazar as communist, though, so maybe that's wrong. Maybe it's more of a... Who knows? Either way, Hergé was not a fascist by the end of his career, but he was at the beginning. Actually, literally, yes, we are a Catholic fascist newspaper. That's who you work for. And that's where Tintin in the Land of the Soviets is serialized.
Which I would say you should still read because I think it's just formally a delight. It's an extremely funny book with terrific pacing and a lot of great slapstick in it. Mm-hmm. It's still honestly one of my favorites of his, just from a formal perspective. I say it's a big fan of Tintin, even if I don't really agree with the perspective that he's going for.
Yeah. But I think that's even
I've never read Tintin in the Congo because I think it would just bum me out too much.
Yeah, probably. Hergé and his depiction of black people, even in the later years, not so good. But what do you want? More, maybe. I can't say.
More of an apology than he gave, which, he did, eventually say this was a bad idea, but you could have just not done it.
He was, whatever. He was an old guy from a different era, and it was amazing that he extracted of himself as much as he did. So... give him credit for that, at least. But that's what's also funny about Tintin in the Land of the Soviets is it does have a markedly more simplified and almost childlike style that I guess was more adherent. It looked like early newspaper, American newspaper comics, and obviously bore some debt to Winsor McKay or something like that. But it was using it for this hardline anti-communist proto-fascist stance as well. I guess hardline I wouldn't describe. This subtly childlike looking at it, Rory has produced a copy, and it looks like Popeye. He's basically just copying a lot of Popeye.
It does not have the clean line look that his later work would be associated with. Also, Snowy, his head is just too big.
Yeah, Snowy's all out of proportion. He's cute, though. He's called Snowy in of course, anyone in France knows him as Milou. Milou! How did they get Snowy out of that? I don't know.
I don't know.
Tintin in America, also racist. But all of the early Tintins are, if they're all... there's an anti-Semitic character in The Shooting Star, Mr. Bullwinkle, which...
in Spanish-speaking countries, Nancy is named Periquita.
Oh, that's cute.
I don't know how you get that. Yeah, it's cute, but I don't know how you get that from Nancy.
Huh. Well, But yeah, I don't think we'll see if this Memphis art style Israel sperm collection person eventually outgrows this and goes on to become Hergé and have a big they do a Memphis corporate style Tintin in Tibet that shows their spiritual cleansing in an artistic fashion. Maybe they will. Okay,
just a question by itself. What?
Rory, also the thing that I've been thinking about, or the phrase that I haven't been able to get at, two phrases that I haven't been able to get out of my mind since the retrieval comic, which is, of course, in 1998, every hack sketch show had something called Saving Ryan's Privates. But it's here now. It's here now. We actually have Saving Ryan's Privates.
God.
And it is a hack observation even for me to do it because it's the basic thing. But that's all was running through my head. But also, the thing that is probably less hacky, but still hacky, is for years they accuse Jews horribly of blood libel, right? You know, they steal the blood of children in order to extend their own lives. But, Rory, we have entered the world of cum libel. We have entered the world of extracting the cum from extracting the cum from corpses to extend life. We're doing there. It's cum libel.
No.
So I haven't been able to get the phrase cum libel out of my head.
Oh no.
They did cum libel on themselves, Rory. They made them look like cum extracting monsters. Like a succubus.
This isn't good radio. I'm just scrunching my face. That's all I can think to do.
Yeah, Rory's scrunching. He can't say it. He can't co-sign cum libel.
Trying to make my lips disappear inside of my beard.
Yeah, but that's all that's been going inside my head since I've been thinking.
Jesus Christ.
Cartooning for I don't know what else is on this subject. I mostly just wanted to talk about the cum cartoon because in terms of all the brain breaking stuff that's been happening recently, that's been on there. But I think it also just it equates to stuff like stone toss as well, or maybe not political cartoons because they're supposed to be deliberately grotesque and they don't have the like we're depicting this as cutesy. Actually, but that's not true either because another person we were talking about, we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, was Michael Ramirez, who is a very famous, not very, as famous as you can be for a political cartoonist, but probably he's like a right-wing, he's like a never-Trump right-wing guy. He does stuff for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, and he's very technically accomplished. He's got a very instantly recognizable style that's sort of scratchy and he has long-looking characters a lot of the time.
He thinks that Joe Biden's head is an upside-down triangle.
Yeah, he depicts Joe Biden mystifyingly, which is weird because he's pretty good at likenesses, but he gets Biden really wrong for some reason. He gets the head shape off. I don't know why.
Maybe it's supposed to mean something in, like, this semiotic understanding of, like head shapes that's inherent to. I feel like there's this like innate phrenological aspects to political cartooning in general, where head shapes mean a very specific thing. Maybe in the world of like the language that only old people understand of political cartooning, Biden's head being a triangle means some specific thing that we can't grasp because we don't have that much dementia yet.
Yeah, and so his sort of misunderstanding of shapes, his basic misunderstanding, his sort of more, as you said, like a phrenologically derived understanding of skull shapes, sort of enters his way in his depictions of Gazans, or as his depiction of the Gaza situation. One cartoon that received a lot of buzz recently is, I believe it depicts the leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, and it depicts him with a bunch of children tied to him, a bunch of babies tied to him, and he's labeled Hamas. Oh, he also has a woman in a hijab who's got big googly eyes, and she's going, "Whoa, they roped me into this." So Hamas has tied a bunch of babies to him. Not the leader of Hamas, he's just labeled Hamas. He's just Hamas in general.
Oh, it's Mr. Hamas.
There's Mr. Hamas. And he's
not Ismail, whatever you said. That's Mr. Hamas.
Yeah. And he's pointing his fingers upwards. Mr. Hamas is pointing his fingers upwards as to suggest that he knows something. And he says, "How dare Israel attack civilians?" So this is obviously the human shields thing, which is complete bullshit. Because if human shields actually worked, they would use them. But they don't, because Israel just kills children wantonly. They don't. They don't. So, that's a stupid argument. But yeah, all the little children here are little cutesy children. They're all little. I'm sure you care a lot about the Palestinian children, Michael Ramirez. I'm sure you really give a shit.
I do think it's impressive that he didn't give them the same features that he gives every other Arab person, where they have just a gigantic nose that has slight features around it.
Yeah, that's what's really weird. Yeah,
they haven't been hit with the Arab ray yet. That turns you into essentially a drawing, the way that the Nazis used to draw Jewish people.
Yes, they gave him a gigantic potato nose. The Haniyeh caricature, because Haniyeh, it's like, whether you are, however you feel about Hamas, he's an exceedingly normal looking person. He does not look like this caricature, or what appears to be a caricature of him with like the super arched eyebrows. And like, obviously this is meant to make him look more, but his nose is this gigantic bulbous tomato. But Haniyeh's nose does not look like that at all. But also, you're right, Rory, because it translates further, because I'm just noticing this cartoon of Rashida Tlaib that he did.
I haven't seen that one.
It's the cartoon's caption is blinders.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And he has also depicted Rashida Tlaib with a gigantic fucking nose.
Oh my God.
For some reason.
That is so vile.
Yeah, it's a very, I'm not... you could say a lot of stuff is racist, but I don't know. This seems a little racist. Not that I would expect any different of him. And Michael Ramirez, if you look at a lot of his output, it's like sort of bog standard conservative stuff. But yeah, he's really going deeply hard on the racism. He's really, as the episode title suggests, cartooning for evil. And this, horrible Rashida Tlaib cartoon, she's wearing a button that says "From the River to the Sea," and on the blinders on either side of her, it says, "I hate America and hate Israel." So she's wearing the blinders of "Hate America and hate Israel." Why does she hate Israel? Oh yeah, it's chained to her face. Oh wow, wow, Jesus Christ. That is weird connotations. Sure, it's fine. But once again, we see cartooning for evil.
Straps on it also look like watches in some part. That is a watch.
Oh, is it like... Okay, why is it a watch? Is it like...
I don't know.
Is it like an IED or something like that? Is it a saw trap?
I really think that's just that he tried to look up bondage gear, and... Right. Because it like some of the ones lower down have the shape of what you'd imagine from a chest harness, but he can't. He's so fucking normal of a guy that he can't really conceptualize what that looks like. So it just turns into a watch.
Another quality of Ramirez that I like is that his jokes are usually so bad, or his observations so tepid and not really worth observing, is that he's quite a competent artist. I can say that much. He's good at the lines. He's good at evincing some sort of three-dimensionality. He's good at stylization. He's bad at likenesses, but everything else he's pretty good at.
I gotta clarify. No, I'm dumb. That is what the top of horse blinders look like. They have a metal plate on the top parts.
Okay, that's great. They have the Air Force blinders with the metal plate on it. But
I think I found the exact horse blinders he was looking at.
Oh, yeah. They're horse blinders. So that does indeed have a
So this makes a lot of sense if you know a lot about horse blinders.
Well, he was just using it as a reference. Maybe the horse blinder people caught it and they were like, "Oh, that's good." But yeah, it's sort of, I think the fact that it's horse blinders and the desire to depict her as, let's say, animalistic, says a little something about Michael Ramirez. That's whatever. I mean, not whatever. Here's a
Maybe
weird
it does.
one.
He goes to the racetrack a lot. Maybe he knows a lot about horses. He does work in Las Vegas.
Okay, here's a strange one. Here's Israel as a lion and Hamas as a rat. And the rat is saying, we demand a little restraint here and your complete annihilation. So, once again, the Nazi thing, they're evil, but they're also weak.
They're also little rats.
Yeah, they're also little vermin, right?
They're little rats.
And Israel is a glorious, roaring lion, you know?
There's nothing extremely fucked up in a very established way about depicting an entire ethnic group as rats. That's never been done before.
No. You know who did a very problematic version of that is Art Spiegelman's mouse. He should never have done that. Should have never depicted the Jews as mice. They're associated with all sorts of terrible things, like the Nazi Mickey Mouse.
Oh no.
What are you looking at? Are you looking at more
looking
Ramirez's?
at the responses of to Ramirez posting the rat drawing, and there is a picture of that some Nassim, who I hope it's not a problem to read his name out, replied to that with a picture of one male lion humping another male lion with a Palestinian flag on the top lion and an Israeli flag on the bottom lion.
Yay! Yay! The Palestinian lion is sodomizing the Israeli. Yay! Fucking dumb. But
it's not a drawing either. It's a photo.
It's a photo. Yeah,
It's a photo of one lion humping another.
That's great.
I'm genuinely not sure what that's supposed to mean because they are both lions.
It means that the Palestinian lion is going to sexually dominate the Israeli lion, of course.
But he looks into it though.
What?
They're two lions who are enjoying each other's bodies. They're equals.
maybe he's got a weird specific feeling going on. You know, maybe he's like, this would all, if like everyone in Israel went gay, and I don't know, if Israel bottomed, you know, we could stop all of this if they were willing to bottom, but they're convinced, you know. I'm going to stop this line of question because I'm disgusted with myself for going down this line of reasoning right now. But
and maybe I shouldn't have read out the name of just some random guy with 99 followers.
It's fine. No one will be able to identify. But sure, the idea that your enemy, we will sexually dominate our enemy is, you know, also not great. But it
looks like they're both enjoying it.
It's fun. That one is more fun than the Ramirez one, which is obvious Nazi shit. That one, a little more playful, I would say. It does not evince deeply racist views of the poster. I don't know. I don't know about this guy. I can't vouch for him.
I don't. This is just a random civilian who made a confusing picture.
He is not a Pulitzer Prize winning political cartoonist. This is just like a question in general. I think I asked a lot of people. Maybe last time you were on the show, I even asked it. But like, why are political cartoons so like uniformly bad? There's 3 people that do it okay, and then the rest of them are like, ugh, Jesus Christ. You know, why is it like, can you just never be funny with that type of pontificating material? Or not even be funny, but there's something like trivializing or bad about it. You know, what do you think?
I think it's, I have to assume that part of it is age.
Yeah.
I don't want to, well, no. Yeah, there are some old people who are, there are a lot of old people who are still like extremely sharp and funny, but I think probably the biggest thing is just that it's a daily thing, and it's very hard to, like, with a lot of cartoonists, they're like or political cartoonists, they're still doing it like as quick as possible. This is just my reaction to these things, and when you're working on that kind of timetable and you have to do this extremely meticulous style of art that like usually takes a lot of time and effort, that it's just impossible to have a really nuanced opinion of anything beyond just the guys I like, they're handsome. The guys I don't like, their heads are fucked up.
Yeah. Well, that's always you've hit upon like what always makes it stupid is the effagizing of your enemies constantly and drawing them as ugly as possible. I think there's a point where you could like, I mean, what I would cite is Ellie Valley. You know, he draws them so ugly as to loop right back around to interesting and stimulating again. You know, if you do like that really detailed Basil Wolverton stuff, but that's I think we've hit upon another because Ellie Valley's comics, I love them. I think they're great, but I've never like had like a laugh out loud guffaw at them because there's usually a lot of text and they take a while to read and they're sort of filled with venom and anger and they're not like something like you can read in 2 seconds and be like, that's dumb, but I think
It's also usually like trying to work through a more specific point than just like a lot of Ben Garrison's stuff, for instance, since we were talking about him earlier, like really just does boil down to Donald Trump. He's got big pecs.
Sure does.
Joe Biden, he's a carpet.
Yeah, he is
Think
a carpet.
about it.
Yeah, in the most recent, Ben Garrison hasn't released a lot of comics about Israel, but all of them are about Iran. He seems to believe that Iran is the major force backing Palestine and is thus, that's bad because Biden and Obama were both nominally supportive of it, which means that he can tie all of this back to Biden. And that seems to be Garrison's position, is that Iran is playing Biden like a fiddle here because he's demented. Which I don't know. I don't know how he gets there, but I guess conservatives are really afraid of Iran for some reason.
Yeah, they have been for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like that has always been one of the big things that, or as long as I've been alive and aware of what's going on, that's been one of the main thrusts of U.S. foreign policy, is just trying to figure out how one day we can slither our way into an opportunity to just fucking kill everybody in Iran.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten there yet, but we're gonna one day.
Yeah. I mean, it can't happen because like a ground invasion of Iran is impossible. And I don't think even the bloated American military doesn't have enough air resources to.
My God,
to do that.
It's so fucked up to think about. Like, if COVID hadn't happened, like we could be in a war with Iran by now, because like you remember like 2 weeks before COVID happened, like Donald Trump just blew up.
Yeah. He killed like he killed this like very well known and popular military general. And they didn't do anything. So I always never understood the fear that, Iran might escalate this. No, we killed one. If they killed one of our guys, if they did that, we would, rain hell on them for years. But they didn't do anything after that. I mean, one, because they can't. Because you can't say, we're invading America, or if you're Iran, you don't have the resources. But also because, I don't know, they're not. They have. You can't escalate. You need to play your cards a little. You can't. So yeah, I never understood the fear mongering about them, because I guess I feel like they wouldn't react that way if they actually had a nuke.
Yeah, but also I feel like if COVID hadn't hit when it hit, like I'm pretty sure shit would have gone down.
I don't know. Maybe. Probably. Who knows though? There are people. There are foreign policy people that know better than us.
You mind if I go to the restroom real quick?
You can go to the restroom real quick. All vamp on the concept of.
Don't cut nothing.
I'm not cutting anything. Everyone's getting the raw. They're getting the raw bathroom feed here. They're gonna hear pissing noises in the background. But yeah, evil cartoons. And the fact that there is something childlike, or a direct attempt to appeal to this childlike quality of people that wants to believe in something simplistic, in a very simplistic narrative. And I think that's sort of why you use cartoons for propaganda as well, to simplify the narrative, or to make it seem as if it is an easy children's story that you can tell. And it gets to that part of you which desires information to be contained in a more razzle-dazzle, or easily comprehensible, or more gentle style that might not be accurate, but is at least slightly more accessible. And I think there's a lot of people that like to take in information this way. I know I do. I think that, that's like the thrust behind other sort of pseudo-corporate Memphis educational cartoons like Kurzgesagt, which was eventually revealed to have some sort of sinister purpose. I forget what. I think it was like Gates Foundation stuff it was associated with.
Kurzgesagt?
Kurzgesagt. Remember that YouTube channel that also used like corporate Memphis-y style? That
I don't
did like
remember that.
instructive videos, but then there was some like its sort of neoliberal educational model was revealed to be mildly insidious or whatever. They were popular.
I don't remember that at
YouTubers,
all.
But yeah. So yeah, the desire for an oversimplification that we receive with cartoons as well, which is why I think, as what's his face, as Scott McCloud pointed out in Understanding Comics, the Adventure Time face or the simplified face, it appeals to a broader range of people because you can map your identity more easily on it. The more detailed you show a face, the less easy it is to map yourself onto it because, you know, it's not you. It's more explicitly not you. But if you depict something with an Adventure Time face, then, that could be me. That could easily be me because it lacks features. So I think a lot of that simplified cartoons bearing propaganda directly uses that feature of cartoons in order to get some sort of nefarious purpose across, because it's counting on sort of the inherent cuteness of that Adventure Time face and the fact that it's easy to map yourself onto that face as well. Which is why I find it insidious, because it's that combination of cuteness and also like evil, unspeakable violence. You know, like British colonialism, that quality that British colonialism had, where it was all this whimsy and stiff upper lip, and then, you know, just bloodshed, endless fucking bloodshed. So yeah, that's what's very. I think that is sort of a uniquely unsavory quality about this. Was 9/11 propaganda, post 9/11 American propaganda this cutesy? I remember it being more overtly violent and adult.
Yeah, it was, what I remember of it was, like, just specifically bloodthirsty and outwardly racist and just fucking insane. I don't know what 9/11 was like in Canada, but, like, there was just a few years where everyone just completely lost their minds. Like, even... Like, I was 12, so, I mean, being against the war doesn't really do much of anything. But, like...
No, actually, thinking back, there was cutesy 9/11 Hasbro. I'll just call all propaganda Hasbro now. There was some Hasbro that I remember. I remember on Newgrounds, one of those popular post 9/11 cartoons on Newgrounds was something along the lines of called, like, I Miss You, Daddy. And it was just this, you know, big-eyed child with, like, sad music in the background going, I miss you, Daddy, after 9/11. And that child was Pete Davidson. I
don't know, that Robert Pattinson romantic drama where just 9/11 happens at the end of it to him.
But that came years after, too. So it's like, I'm trying to remember, what were the cutesy...
I feel like sentimentalism is kind of different, though, from, like, overtly, like, oh, I'm a small bean, I have to protect my race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is ultimately, like, what is so disconcerting about that cartoon, which, like, it's worth noting, I think, that, like, I will think that the person that is about is maybe a real person.
Yeah.
And I don't know how she feels about all of this. I don't think that she was, like, involved in this.
Maybe I don't know.
I am not sure if, like, I feel great about, like, her being dragged into this, if, like, this wasn't something she agreed with.
I don't feel sympathy for this sperm collecting woman, but...
But, yeah, the fundamental thing that is so jarring about this is that, like, her reaction to it being, or, like, the cartoon version of this person's reaction to what happened being, like, I must preserve his bloodline and keep it going, just feels like saying we must protect. I was trying to I've spaced out. I can't do it. I was trying to figure out how to rephrase the 14 words, but with small beans instead of white children.
We must protect the beans. Yeah.
It starts to fall apart. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Do it yourself. This is enrichment work for you, the listener.
I had to protect my husband.
Don't tell me how you figure.
Yeah, small beans. Yeah.
Figure it out on your own time. Don't tell me what you come up with.
Oh my god. Oh,
But I mean, I guess
mercy.
cutesy in America post 9/11 would be like doing a parody of Deo, where it was about bombing.
Yeah, that was bad. But
Yeah,
it
singing "Come, Mr. Taliban, turn over Bin
but
Laden."
also not cutesy, not like small, not like ooh, I'm a small. It was like we're just gonna get them. That was the sentiment, because you can't do
Yeah,
like ethnic preservation in your pluralist country, right? You know, you can't make that argument because you're not you're clearly not an exclusively white country, so or
you
not
can
an
still be
exclusively.
extremely racist to Arabs, though.
Yeah, yes you can, and people were after that. I remember like. One of the cutesier ones was even the South Park entry of Osama bin Laden has farty pants, where they turned it into a Looney Tune. But even that was like, that episode is all about how sympathetic the Afghani kids are, which is, South Park, they don't, they've had some problems, but I always thought for an episode that was sort of just blatant, we're going to get them propaganda, it actually had a little more to say than the average. And then they eventually went on to do Ladder to Heaven, which is one of the best like post 9/11 comments or episodes about the exploitation of the sentimentality behind it. So they were sort of, I don't think they were that cutesy really, but yeah, it doesn't seem there, because I also think America really can't labor under the pretension that it's a small bean either, because it's very much not.
We want to be a small bean, though.
Yeah. We do. Everyone wants to be. Everyone wants to be. It's not my fault because I have emotional problems, or because I have some sort of dysregulation, or because I'm so tiny. Look at me. I can't do anything to hurt anybody.
I think we'll get there. I think that's like the ultimate direction that the Democratic Party wants to go into, is just small bean totalitarianism.
Yeah, it's happening. That's what's happening.
Versus just outright totalitarianism of the Republican Party.
Yeah, because the Republican Party, they don't. They're just we want to be the strong mother, killers. We want to be the murderers. And no, we want to be murderers, but like, what if we were like we didn't want, we were doing it reluctantly.
What if I was sad about it?
Oh no, this knife just went in your back. I am so sorry. Oh no. I got Mr. Bill.
Oh no.
Yeah, these Mr. Bill Democrats. Although I guess Mr. Bill is the one who's always getting killed. But what if Mr. Bill wanted revenge? And that's what he's doing.
I had to shoot that Mexican child in the head because he was doing me a scared.
Oh no! Okay, shouldn't joke about that. Rory's shaking his head vigorously. Heckin' scare, yeah. But yeah, I guess that really does sum it up as small bean totalitarianism. That is the effect of evil cartoons, to at once say something monstrous and aggressive and bloodthirsty, but also to mask yourself as the opposite, which is what creates that disgusting and angering incongruousness that is exemplified by the cum retrieval video. I think
government mandated milking tables.
Government mandated milking tables. It's happening. The small bean milking tables. They will milk your small beans for you. I think we've come to the end of this episode about evil cartoons. Rory, do you have anything to plug or to say at the end of this episode?
When is this coming out?
Probably tonight or tomorrow.
Okay, well, if it's tonight, November 15th, or tomorrow, November 16th, I have shirts up. If it's after that, I do not have shirts up. If I do, if it is one of those 2 days, you can go to www.getjackedoffbythepresident.com and get a shirt. Or if it's the 17th, you can't. I'm sorry, but I am going to be doing a reprint of one of my most popular and like most requested for reprint shirts, starting from Black Friday and going either until the 30th, or if at any point before the 30th I decide I have so many orders that it's going to make me miserable, I'm going to cut it off before that.
All right, sounds good. Get your shirts.
That's it.
I got
if you want a shirt.
I got my Dick Ripper shirt that Rory sent to me for free because we're friends.
You still live at the same place?
Yes, I do still live at the same place.
All right, I have a zine I'm working on that I want to mail you a copy of when it's finished because it's just an idea that I'm really proud of.
Ooh, you're nice. Nice.
That is all that I'm going to say.
Well, everyone should also join Rory's Patreons, where if you at a certain tier, you can get those zines, get in them freaking mail every month.
If you want.
Yeah, if you want. But also, it's nice. It's nice. Just do it. Those are cartoons not for evil. Those are cartoons for, at worst, neutrality. And at best,
some of them are evil.
Some of them.
I stay away from politics in my work a lot, more than anything, because I feel like I don't have much to contribute through the lens of this specific kind of work that I do. Even though it is something that I do care about a lot. I have a degree in political science. Sure. But it's just not something that I really feel like I'm the right person to go to.
You don't think a cube named Tony with a greaser haircut is the right person to address the gravity of the Palestine issue?
No. I mean, if I felt like I had a good hook, I would do something, but I've just never really felt like I'm the right person to,
you should have Netanyahu
speak about that.
Sprouting a bunch of little Netanyahus, and like a lot of when the newspaper comics and your guys start freaking out and doing body horror.
But you could do that said,
that would be great. It wouldn't cheapen the situation. It wouldn't be stupid at all. Yeah, I mean, that's why I stay away from doing cartoons of it as well. It's just, what am I adding to this with cartoons? What am I don't want to simplify this situation. I want to talk about it without cartoons. I want to talk about it with more nuance, that adult conversation.
I don't want to feel at any point as though I'm making my beliefs into a brand.
Yeah, that's tough.
Because that kind of feels as though it's cheapening things sometimes. Not that I think that all political cartoonists are doing that. I think some people do a terrific job of laying out their beliefs in a compelling way. But also, people
it's not your beat.
Don't let feeling like you don't have the right words to use stop you from speaking out if you see injustice in the world.
Hell yeah. Be strident.
I just can't express that with drawings of chickens trying to hatch pigs.
Yes. Find an appropriate medium as well, but also be strident, but in an appropriate medium. All right.
Go to a protest.
Sure, yeah. Go to a protest.
Keep showing up to protests. Yeah. That's my big plug.
Yeah. Write your leaders in power and use your body to block stuff. It actually does things using your body to block stuff. You might not think it does, but just messing with the daily commerce in some little way can have a large effect.
I think that the optics of how this is going with people demonstrating right now is kind of starting to break what the consensus is. At the very least, make what the United States government is supporting look a lot less worth supporting.
Yeah.
And you should get out there.
Yeah, keep up the momentum. All right. Good night, everybody.
Or at least make a sign for somebody.
Sure. There's lots of ways you can help. But try. I think that's a big message. This is one of those things you have to at least try a little on, if not a lot. Well, take care, everyone, and have a wonderful time.
Bye.
Bye.